Hey everybody, welcome to Harmon Garage. I'm Aaron, and as you saw, it's a little bit of an overcast day. Kind of more breezy than I wanted it to be for what I was doing, but I figured I got that drone and it's been sitting in my office, not getting used because I'm afraid to fly it if it's raining. I'm afraid to fly it if it's windy. I'm afraid to fly it if it's too hot. I'm afraid to fly it if it's too cold. I'm afraid to fly it because I don't want to crash the dang thing. But if I don't do it, I'm not going to get any better at it. And it's kind of cool to play with, actually. So I figured, you know, it's a little breezy. Trees are blowing around a little bit. But I took it up anyways. And I cut out probably a good portion of the actual flying because it's terrible. But I kind of did a overhead shot view for you guys, see a place since I've been cleaning it up a little bit here and there and tried to do what I could do. But anyways, every once in a while I like to try to play around if I get the opportunity, but at the end of the day we still got to get back to work. So that's what we're going to do today. We got old Swamp Thing sitting here. Last video we left off, we were working on the fuel system and electric fans and got all that wired in and everything electronically working, but fuel pump didn't work. I got a new one of those ordered. We'll have to swap it out when it comes. But this video, we want to make this thing run, drive, and stop. Now, you might see I've got a Y pipe here with some homemade reducers and stuff like that. That'll tell you right off the bat, it doesn't have any exhaust on it. We got a leaky pinion seal we got to change. We haven't touched the rear brakes yet. And a couple things to do to the interior, and I'm sure as we go we'll find more stuff that still needs to be done. So we're gonna get at it. We're gonna hammer down on this truck and we're gonna try to do a burnout before this video's over. Hang tight. All right, it's the next day. I don't remember where I left off yesterday with you guys. I don't know, I had an off day yesterday. I was kind of doing a little bit and not doing anything and whatever. But anyways, yesterday afternoon I was tinkering around. The next thing I'm going to do on the truck is the exhaust, and I've got this Y pipe came off of another truck, but it seems to line up, and I had to cut it off right here because it had a catalytic converter on it, and we're not going to run a catalytic converter. So then I had a piece of pipe I needed to get down to a smaller size because we're going to run 2.5 because that's the muffler that I got. I'm going to reuse the muffler, it's already on here, and just hope that it works. But we had O2 sensor bungs up there. I had 2 plugs, so I Loctited those in, and then there was another one here, and I cut off a bumper bolt, stuffed it in there, and welded it on. And this here, somebody else had already cut previously and welded it back up, and it was all boogered up and nasty. So I went ahead and ground it down. Not like you're ever gonna see it, but it looks a little better for me. So like I said, first project is gonna be knocking out an exhaust on this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this Y pipe mounted up in there. I'll try to get you guys under there after I get it bolted in and show you. But then we're just gonna keep going through all the scraps and exhaust that I have and put together something to make an exhaust in it. Okay, we got that Y pipe in there. It hangs a little bit on the low side. Not really. It's not any lower than the tranny cross member, but it fits good. It's coming out over here. The only issue is it's coming out straight into that transmission cross member, which, I mean, when they ran duals, they would have brought it down and put it in this hump over here and ran it back, which I've been going the opposite way. I've been wanting to go up and over, but I might just put it in that hump and run it back. I haven't decided. I don't have an exhaust bender, and I'm not a professional exhaust builder, but I've been tinkering around with some pie cuts And I got a piece that'll go up in there off of my Y pipe, and then I can put it on here. I went and got a mandrel bin, cut it in half. I can put that on there like so, and it'll go up and over that tranny cross member and put us running straight out where we can do something with it. But since I just thought about running it underneath, I really don't want to run it underneath. I'd rather run it over, but I'd also rather keep the heat away from the transmission on the floor. I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna keep tinkering. I'll update you guys when I find out what I'm doing. All right, we got our little whoop-de-doo thing that I made completely welded in the truck, and now we've got our piece of pipe with our, we got a new Thrush turbo muffler, and then I took the other half of the mandrel bin that I had to buy and made a little dump. So it's gonna dump probably about right there on the other side. That's about the length that it is. So it'll be right in front of the rear tire, but inside the frame rail, so it'll be okay. I'm going to get a jack out, get this set up in there. I just have to weld that one joint. I wish it slid inside or outside, or I wish it slipped in or out or something, but it's not going to. So I'm gonna have to hold it up there perfect, get it welded. So I'm gonna weld that joint. I'm gonna put I gotta look, I think they're over there somewhere. I got hangers laying around. I'm going to find a hanger and we'll get it mounted. We'll get the hanger put on, we'll get the exhaust welded up. I'll take you guys back under there, show you what it looks like, and might even see if this thing starts. All right, well, it's the next morning. I've been tinkering around a little bit. I had a buddy come over, needed me to look at his wife's car for him. We kind of did that thing, and now I'm back on old Swamp Thing. And like I told you before I left yesterday, I would take you back underneath there, show you how the exhaust turned out, what it looks like. And then I have not started this truck yet, other than the one time that I started it in the video. So it should fire up. You may remember from the last video, I don't have a belt tensioner. I ordered a new tensioner, I ordered a new belt, and I ordered a new idler pulley, and they haven't made it yet. And you may also remember from the end of the last video that our fuel pump wasn't working. Well, I took the fuel line off, I sprayed some penetrating lube in there, and left the key on and tapped on it with a tapping device, and it started working again. I remembered that I had some water in the tank on my dually, and I used that pump to pump the fuel out of that tank. That was the one time that I had said I had used it, and I'm thinking that water got in there and just kind of made it sticky. So with the penetrating lube, tapping on it, it freed it up, pumping gas like a champ. I've had a lot of people tell me, not a lot, a few people told me in the comments of the last video that I should take the fuel pump from up here and move it back as close to the tank as I should get it. I'm not arguing with you, but there's a difference between a pull pump and a push pump. If you take a push pump and bring it all the way up here by the motor, so it's trying to pull from all the way back there at the tank, you're gonna burn it up. If you take a pull pump and put it all the way back there by the tank, so it has to push all the way up here to the carburetor, you're gonna burn it up. Now, a lift pump is a pull pump. It's meant to be a distance away from the tank, and it pulls fuel to it and then pumps it up. That's what that is. That is why I mounted it up front. So for everybody that was saying I should put the pump back by the tank, you are correct in certain situations, and in other situations, it's better off up front here. So if you don't agree with me, that's fine. Everybody's got their own opinion. But as far as this being a lift pump, I don't want to push with it any further than I have to. That's why I put it all the way up front. So we're gonna crawl down underneath here, show you guys our exhaust is in. There's our little, wow, that's really close. There's our little whoop-de-doo that we made to get it up and over the tranny cross member. And then it goes back. We've got a Thrush turbo muffler, which, being a V6, I didn't want it to be loud because I think they don't sound that great. But that was the cheapest muffler I could find. So it's a little, probably gonna be a little louder than I wanted it to be. And then we've got our turnout dump down back here, just like I always do it. So there's our exhaust system. Turned out good. I didn't show you, you might have seen it. There's a hanger in the back there. And right behind the muffler, hanging it up. And as far as, sorry guys, I'm grabbing the key. As far as anything goes, that's it. So let's put the key in here. You know what? I'll be right back. Okay, I set a camera up back by our tailpipe. So we're going to hit the key, see what happens. Hear the fuel pump running. Fired right up. All right, there it is. Can't leave it running too long because I don't have water circulating. But I don't hear any leaks. Like I said, I got the camera back there that I'll put the clip in. So you can kind of hear it back there, but a little louder than I want it to be, but it'll be okay. It's got an overdrive transmission, so it's not like it's going to be out there racing down the road at 3,500 RPM screaming like a irritated honeybee. So sounds good. Like I said, I don't want to leave it running too long because I don't have coolant running through it. But she fired right back up. I figured she would. She fired up pretty easy for us the first time we started it. So yeah, it's a runner. It's got an exhaust, and I'm pretty happy with that part of it. So looks like a little oil leak popped up underneath the truck that wasn't there before, and I'm gonna have to find out what that is. And yeah, so next thing we're gonna do is change out the steering box. So we'll get that going and see how it turns out. All right, it's time to get you guys caught up. I've been working my tail end off, and it's hot, like 115 in the shop hot with the fans going. And I'm not crying, it's just hot. But I told you guys the next thing I was gonna do was change the steering box, and I did. I didn't film it because I changed the steering box, and there's a whole bunch of piddly little stuff that I have to do to finish up this truck, and I just didn't see a point in filming every little thing. It would have got real monotonous and boring. So I did a bunch of little stuff. I'm gonna take you guys back, give you an update, show you what I've done, and then we've got a pinion seal, rear brakes, and we've got to bleed the brakes. and this thing's ready for its first test drive, which the rear brakes are going to take a little while. They need everything, but maybe we can knock them out pretty quick. We'll see what happens. So I tried to show you guys the steering box in the truck, but it's kind of tucked up behind the bumper and it's underneath, and I'm a terrible cameraman and whatnot, so I kept it over here on the floor so I could show it to you. So the first thing I'm going to do, show you the steering box and why I changed it, and then I'll show you everything else that I did and give you an update on the truck. So here's the steering box, and this is what I was trying to show you guys. Not sure exactly how this happened, but the whole end of the steering box blew out. Like, this is the snap ring that holds the cap in, and like the casting is busted away, and it made it really hard to steer, and it leaked fluid all over the place, and just for the simple fact that you can't run that, like it's not gonna work. So I had a steering box out in my storage bus, and I was 100% sure that it was the steering box that came off of the burnout truck, which is an 84. This is an 85. Both metric, both the same steering box. Everything's direct bolt-in. Well, the steering box that I had out in my storage bus was off of a 70s model. It was the older pre-metric steering box, and yeah, so nothing worked. I had to make new lines, power steering lines. Yes, I had to make power steering lines. I took a metric line off of a parts truck, and I flared the end of it because I needed to double flare for the box side. And then I made my own return, but we got it in there. Box is in, box is hooked up, box is done. Here's my lines that I made. They'll do the job. I'm not saying they're perfect or the prettiest thing you've ever seen in your life, but they work. They do not leak, and the truck has power steering. I have ran it and been bleeding on the steering. It's giving me fits bleeding, but that's okay, it happens. So with that, we got our speedometer cable put in. I got the torque converter lockup all wired in for the transmission. I got our TV cable and our throttle cable, brackets, everything all set up and hooked up to the carburetor. They all work. This upper hose, I could like put my finger in between the hose and the alternator, but it was a little close for comfort for me. Like if you're going down the road and the hose was bouncing, I was afraid it was gonna hit the alternator or maybe the belt. So I built this little bracket, cut a piece of exhaust pipe, made a saddle, welded it to the brace that supports the tensioner, and put a piece of hose in there so it doesn't chafe the radiator hose. And don't mind the welds. I welded them without a welding helmet on with it in the truck. They're kind of ugly, but they get the job done. Bada bing, bada boom. Don't know if I showed this or not. New belt tensioners on, new idler pulleys on, brand new belt is on. And I have started and ran the truck probably 10 times since the last time I videoed. And, whoa, bee in the face, sorry. It fires right up, it idles good, and it'll just sit there and run as long as I want it to. Temperature stays right, everything's working. Just like that. Fans are working. I had it running a few minutes ago, so the fan's actually on. Haven't had any problems with my lift pump or my fuel, and I think the exhaust sounds halfway decent. I didn't want it to be as loud as it is, but it'll be okay. It's not super loud. But anyways, power steering. Nice and easy. It likes it. Everything's good. Still bleeding it. So, a little trick. If you're bleeding power steering, jack it up off the ground, which obviously I had it jacked up anyways, but jack it up off the ground and then turn the steering wheel like all the way one way to where you got to hold it to stay there, and then turn the key off so it locks it, and just let it sit there, and it'll work all the air out on that side, that function of it going that way, and then let it sit there for a couple hours. I usually sometimes do it overnight, and then turn the key on, roll it all the way back the other way, same thing till you have to hold it there, turn the key off so it locks it, and then let it sit there, and it'll bleed all the air out over there. I still got some bubbles. It's kind of, the fluid's kind of aerated just from running it right there. So we turned it back the other way, we locked her down, and we'll just let it sit there and do its thing. So I'm gonna get the back of the truck jacked up. We're gonna do the pinion seal. We're gonna do the rear brakes. We're gonna get all this stuff bled if I can find somebody to help me, or figure out a way to do it myself. And then we're gonna take her for her first drive in a long time. I don't even remember how long this thing sat in that swamp. Does anybody else remember? Still got the plate on it. 2008, so last time it was registered, so it would have been like 10, 16, I think 16 years ago. My math ain't that great, but either way, first drive in 16 years. It's coming up. Hang tight. All right, I got the back end of this thing all jacked up yesterday before I went home. I tried to change the rubber brake hose, but everything was pretty rusted up, so I sprayed it all down with penetrating lube and let it sit overnight. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the wheels off. One side doesn't have anything, and the other side, well, one side only has a drum, and the other side, I believe, has most or all of the brakes, but I don't really remember for sure. So we're gonna pull both sides off. We'll see what each side has, and we're gonna put all brand new everything on both sides. Apparently, this is the side with nothing. So we'll go ahead and pull the wheel off the other side. That means it should have something. So we'll go see what we got. Alright. We don't even want to start to go over the story of what it took to get these off. And honestly, that shoe looks brand new. So does that one. And yeah, but everything was locked up, everything was seized up. There's not much left of that adjuster, and we're putting everything brand new on the other side, so we just need to go ahead and do this side too. So we are going to reuse those shoes because they look brand new, and why not? No, I'm just kidding, we're not. We got all new everything except for maybe like the crossbar or something. I may be missing that, but I've got other rear ends laying around here that are already half taken apart that I don't really care about, like this spring deal. This bar here, if we don't have them, we'll get them out of something else. So other than that, I'm going to give this area here a very thorough cleaning, and by very thorough cleaning I mean just spray it with brake parts cleaner to get excess dirt and crap out of it. And then right now I'm going to put this wheel cylinder back in take it out as part of the only way I could get the drum off. And now I can't get it back on, you know, all in fun. There we go. That side started. And now the other screw fell. Did you guys happen to see where it went? Because I didn't. There it is. Alright. And I got the brake line off of the wheel cylinder over here. So that gives me a little bit of hope that I might be able to get it off on the other side too, because that would be extremely helpful. So. Alright, that should be tight enough. Get this cleaned up and keep going. Alright, brand new. Okay. Got our new parts, and I'm bouncing crap all over the place. So we've got kits and kits and kits and more kits, and that's probably out of there. Yeah. Alright, so this has an R on it, and it looks yeah. So this is the right side, which would be the side we're on, obviously. That has an L on it, so that's going to be the other side. Alright, that makes that part easy. And then one of these is going to be hardware kit. And I would think that just a standard hardware kit, oh wait. This is why do I have two left side adjuster kits? Oh well. Alright, anyways, carry on. So, let me get going. And just for the record, we're not putting parking brakes in. Not because I'm being lazy or anything like that, just because it's all messed up and You don't really use it anyways, so no parking brake. I've done these so many times I can't even count, and every time I gotta look and see how to do it because I can't never remember. Okay, so this goes like this. This goes like this, and then we aren't going to be able to get the spring on. Bam, first try, look at that. Needs to be fixed, but alright, there we go. Okay, that part's done. That goes in there. It's been a while since I've done this. That's a shorter spring. This has got to go in there, but it's missing a spring. And the spring did not come in either one of the kits. Crap. And it apparently wasn't in there because it's not here on the ground anyway. So let me go see if I got any laying around, and if I don't, I guess we'll have to go look for some. Alright, I didn't have anything I needed, but I got lucky, and the little store down the road did, so got that done. I know a lot of you are going to say, hey, that's for the parking brake, why are you putting it in there? I know, but I just put it in just because. So okay, so this has to go in there. Right? Is that right? Yeah? Maybe? Nobody knows? Okay. Alright, I should have... Where did my short spring go? Oh, did I take that back off already? Screwed that up. Come on. Sometimes this thing's really cool. Sometimes it ain't worth a crap. And right now I'm going with ain't worth a crap. Come on. There we go. Okay. All that for this little piece. I don't know what it is. I call it a football. But there, now, right back where we started. This goes in here. There we go. Alright. This one gonna go here. Alright, and because I'm a rich big spender, we're going to throw some brand new, top of the line, most expensive ones I could find drums on here. Y'all know better than that. It fits, it ships. Give this a little bit of adjusting. That'll be done. Is that the right way? Probably not. Starting to get a little drag, just a little more. And we got a little drag. The drum doesn't pull off super easy. I'm gonna call that good. All right. This side is done, and I'm going to take you guys over and make you suffer through watching me do the exact same thing on the other side, because if it wasn't boring enough on this side, it'll definitely be boring on the other side. So I'm just kidding. I'm going to go ahead and bang the other side out real quick, and we'll be able to bleed these brakes and move on. Well, I still got to do the brake hose underneath, but I'll knock that out too. So I'll bring you guys back when we get everything, all the hard parts put on, and we're ready to bleed them. All right, it's another new day again, and you might be saying, well, you told us you were going to do the brakes and then move on, and you'd be right. That is what I told you, and that is what's actually happening. So I got the driver's side of the brakes done. You guys saw me do the passenger side, and then my good friend Art came over to help me bleed out the brakes. and he got here at about 9 o'clock in the morning, and about 3 o'clock in the afternoon I finally told him, look, it's 108 degrees outside and we're just performing the definition of insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. Front brakes are fine. I could not get fluid to the back. And anybody that messes with old Chevys is going, oh, proportioning valve rod stuck to the side, not letting fluid go to the back. And that is a possible thing that can happen. That is not the case with this. So I already checked that. The proportioning valve is centered. Everything is okay. We tried and tried and tried. I had a brand new master cylinder on here, and no matter how much I bled the master cylinder and everything else, it was not putting out fluid to the rear. So we messed around. I finally went and grabbed another master cylinder off of a parts truck. This is actually off a 97, but we took all the measurements and the throw measurements, and the only difference between this, actually, like the aluminum part of the master cylinder, is identical to the other one. The only difference is this has a smaller reservoir, but it should be fine. That 97 has the same size brakes, so maybe over the 12-year difference, they just realized they didn't need as much fluid. I don't know, but for right now, for the time being, that one's on here, and that one is actually moving fluid out the rear passages. I've gone through step by step by step all the way back, and I can blow air from the line that goes into the master cylinder right here and have it come out the bleeders in the back. So there's no restriction. Everything is clear all the way through. So the problem that I'm having is just, so when you have air in a system like that, it's trying to get to the highest point, which is going to be our master cylinder. We're trying to get fluid in the lines and push our air to the furthest lowest point, which would be our bleeder. And it's floating there in the middle and doesn't want to move. So first off, thank you, Art, for spending the whole day over here trying to help me bleed some brakes that didn't happen. I really do appreciate it. So then I called it quits. I went home, and my buddy Spencer called me for other reasons. Let's just put it that way. It wasn't about anything I was doing on this truck. He called me to BS about some stuff, and he's in the game too. And I said, hey, you ever run across this problem? And he said, man, let me tell you what, I got this disc brake kit to put on this old car for a friend, and it came with this big syringe with a hose on it, and you fill it up with brake fluid, and you put it on the bleeder down at the bottom, and you push fluid through the bleeder at the back up to the master cylinder. He said, I wish I'd have learned about it 20, 30 years ago. It's a game changer. There's nothing like it. He goes, all you gotta do is find some kind of syringe with a hose on it. He said what he does is he bleeds out the master cylinders and then uses the syringe to suck the fluid out of the master cylinder, because obviously the master cylinder can't be full if you're pushing fluid into it. So he sucks the fluid out of the master cylinder and then goes back to the back and pushes it up to the front. Now, couple things that first off, I went and got this suction gun, which is basically just a syringe with a hose on it. And I put some thought into it. First thought is, you don't want to like take that sucker and just give her the beans, because you're going to blow fluid out of here and all over your motor and the underside of your hood and your engine compartment and everything else. Second thing is, this is the fluid that was in this master cylinder when I took it off of the parts truck. As you can tell, it's kind of dirty. So I'm not going to suction that out and reuse it. I'm going to suction it out and waste it and put fresh fluid in it. But I'm going to set up some cameras. I really want to see how this works, and if it does work good like Spencer says it does, then I want to show you guys so you have another little trick in your arsenal to do. So I'm not quite sure how things are gonna work out, but I'm gonna try to set up a camera back down there by the bleeder screw where you can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna try to set up another camera up here where we can watch the fluid come back into the reservoir. And then I'm gonna give this a shot because he says it works. I believe him. The logicalness and the thought process of it means it would work good. And he tells me that this is the only way he bleeds brakes now, and he never has to pump a pedal, and other than opening the bleeder to put the fluid into it, never has to crack a bleeder. So I should be able to go around to all four corners of this truck and do the same thing by myself without any help, and this brake system should be bled. So I'm gonna get this master cylinder sucked out and cleaned out the best that I can. I'm gonna try to get some cameras set up so we can, I wanna see what happens up here when I'm down there also. So I'll have it on film so I can see it and to put it on the video. And we'll try to get these brakes bled out. And then if we get the brakes bled out, then we can finish up the last couple things on this truck and be done with it. So let's see how it goes. Okay. I got the camera set up in the reservoir the best I can. And I got a camera set up back here the best I can. I got my syringe here already full of brake fluid. I'm just gonna make sure the bleeder's not like all the way open so I can tighten it down fairly easily. And then we'll see what happens. It's a nice tight fit, so that's good. So hopefully you guys can see what we got going on. And we're just gonna slowly I hope this is right, because this is extremely hard to push in here. I don't have the bleeder open very far, but it is leaking out the bleeder there too, so. But not as much as I'm putting in, so. Just empty this thing, tighten that bleeder down. I'll go up front and see if we got fluid up there. Alright, I'm just gonna tighten it down right there and see what we got, because it's leaking out of the around the bleeder a lot, so. Thought I had the bleeder a lot tighter than that. Alright. I'm gonna go check up front, see if we got anything up to the master cylinder yet. And see what we got going on. And we still have nothing. But it might be more than what I put in there, so we'll refill the syringe and keep going. radiator's open.
I hear bubbling.
I'm hoping that's up in the master cylinder, but we'll find out in a minute. Alright, that's all the way. My syringe is empty. And like I said, I heard bubbling. Sounded like it was coming from up front, so I'm gonna go check and see if we got any fluid up there yet. Hey, it worked! Our rear reservoir is all the way full, and we even pushed in enough that it started to fill the front one back up a little bit, so that's awesome. So that should mean that our rear brakes are bled. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Spencer. I would have killed myself trying to figure out what to do with this thing. So we should have fluid all the way through. I didn't see any air bubbles in anything. So we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and the fronts should be, they were working yesterday with both master cylinders, so they should have most of the fluid and stuff already to them. We'll just kind of bleed them off the same way, and then we'll see what we got for a pedal and stuff. Take it for a little drive and see how it does, and make sure transmission shifts out fine, make sure, you know, it's not running hot, anything like that. So cruising along in my automobile. Seems to run pretty smooth. Definitely need to adjust the steering wheel, but it's okay for right now. We can do that later. a U-turn, go back to the shop, and we'll call that good for right now. I don't want to just go out here and beat the crap out of it, run the wheels off of it or anything. So we're like I said, just half a mile up, half a mile back. We'll pull her up on the apron where we can do a little bit more work on her and shut her down. But I just want to run it through its paces real slow, get it going. I don't know when this motor was ran. I know it sat outside for a long time. I know this truck sat for a long time. It's got a bunch of pieces from a bunch of different trucks all thrown together to make it one. So, yeah, I mean, I just want to let it do its thing. So, I'm excited as can be. I've been working on this thing for a while. I'm excited for my nephew to get it, and the fact that it fired up and drove down the road, and it goes and it stops and it moves and everything else. I mean, that's just great. So, it made it a mile. And, like they say, if you start training for a marathon or something like that, the first mile's the hardest. So, first mile's the hardest. We made it that mile. We're going to pull it up here. There's a couple little things I want to do to button up the interior. And then I'm just going to drive this thing around and see how it does. So, we'll finish up our little things we want to finish up on the interior, and then that'll probably be it for this video. So, we'll get it done and move on. Okay, next thing we have to do, pull the door panel off. And you guys might be saying, why are you pulling the door panel off? Didn't you just put them on when you cleaned the truck up? And yes I did. But we got armrest door pulls for here, and they bolt to the bottom of the door panel if you put them on right. So I want to put them on right. We're going to take the door panels off so we can bolt those on there like they're supposed to be. And I got a broken off screw here. And then, because these are power window doors, I want to make a plate that goes over this. And I'm glad I said something, because I'm going to do that now. Is make a template so I know where this is. And before I take the door panel off, because once I take the door panel off, obviously the regulator won't be there. So I'm going to go get a piece of cardboard, and we'll make a template. And then, like I said, I'm going to make a plate. We'll just drill small holes in the corner, put 4 rivets in it, and then that'll cover that up, and it'll just look like a plate. We'll paint it, and it'll look better. My nephew may get new door panels, but if he doesn't, that'll make it look a lot better. Before he takes it home, I may even make something to go in there, but probably not. Alright, from the looks of it, these should be about the same on either door. This opening is a little bit bigger, but it just has more gap in between them on the other door. So if I make 2 of the same plate, I should be able to just make 2 of the same one and then use them on both sides. So that's the intentions. So what I'm going to do here is mark center on that. I know I need the plate to be that long. Now we're going to come over here and mark center right here. And I need it to be that long. And now when I make this go straight down and this goes straight over, that's going to be my hole where this is. And then I know I need the plate to be that big. So we'll draw all that out and do all that in a minute. But for right now, we can go ahead and get this door panel off. we put the door panel back on, I've got the chrome piece that goes on the handle and all that stuff. It'll just make it look a little bit better. Alright. Like I said, I guess it's not broke off, there's just a screw stuck in there. And then we've got a broke off deal here. So I'm going to get that out. I'll get that out. And then I'll bring our armrest deal over here. And we can put that on. Put the door panel back on. And then we can make our little plate to go up there. Alright. Time for a great big box opening here. Why I'm opening this box, I'm just going to tell you guys that when I pull out what's in here, you're going to look at it and go, why in the heck is that like that? And I'm just going to be honest with you and tell you, because it was cheaper. And you might be wondering what I'm talking about, so I'm going to show you. They're black. And you might go, Aaron, this door panels and that interior is tan. And you are correct. So why did I get black ones? Well, I'm going to tell you. The reason I got the black ones is because a set of black ones was $29.99. A set of any other color one was $79.99. So since the outside of the truck is black and tan, why not make the inside of the truck black and tan too and save $50? So they didn't do a very good job of knocking these holes out. So I'm going to go and get a punch and awl, whatever you want to call it, to punch those out. And they don't come with this nut either, so I got to go find a nut that fits there. So I'm going to go find an awl and a nut. We'll get these ready to mount on there, and then we'll get them mounted. Alright. Got some nuts. And I got all this ready to go. And I didn't put screws, get screws to mount it to the door, but I got some big old body washers because I didn't need them, but the holes in the doors were kind of oblonged out and whatnot, but you can just leave these like hand tight. And these are kind of self-locking nuts, but I don't want to crank on them too hard because it'll rip the stud out of that door, that armrest. But I want to get it snug down, so it's really all we needed the door panel off for. Okay. Go ahead and put it back on. Need screws for that, need screws for that, and then we'll make our little panel there. All right, that solves that. All right, that's that. Now, time to make our template and go make our piece. Okay, I just got a little straight edge here. Make sure we get stuff straight. Makes sense. Come right there. And that there. That I don't think it's going to work, because to me, yeah, that line is crooked, but it's crooked because this isn't straight. This end's straight, so we can make that work off of that. And then because this end's straight, this is straight, we can come right down there like so. And that's our nice straight line right there. That's pretty nice and pretty straight. We'll go with that. All right. Cut this out. I got to punch a hole in it right there, because that's where our window crank should come through. So I'm going to cut the hole, and I'm going to morph you guys back over to the door so we can test fit it. Dang, you guys are good at that morphing stuff. You even beat me over here. All right. Boom. It don't get no better than that. This hole's going to need to be a little bigger, but that's okay, because I just have to use a bigger drill bit. But anyways, that's going to have to be a little bit bigger, so I can take it over there. We'll trace it out on a piece of metal, cut it on the bandsaw, clean it up, and then we'll drill our hole in it and fasten it. And to fasten it, I'm going to put 4 small holes in it in the corners. Pop rivets. Pop goes the rivet. It'll be done. So let's morph back over there and get this cut out. Ha! I beat you guys this time. Been standing here waiting for you. Expensive pencil sharpener. And we need to square that up a little bit. Problem is, what do we square it off of? That looks pretty square. We'll go with that. That should give us a straight line. Now, I know this is pretty square, so if I put this on my straight line here, should be able to make a straight line here and here and here. And then, no, that is bad. Hey, look, fresh piece of metal. Okay, I need to come further over here. Alright, now that should be straight. Now, just going to go back and do the exact same thing that I just did. Again, because you guys had so much fun watching it the first time, I wanted to do it over for you. And this cardboard is getting so wet I about can't do anything with it anymore. And yeah, sweating like a dang boar on a rotisserie over here. Alright. I got good enough lines to cut. That's all that matters. So now, you guys are going to hear a little bit of like doo -doo 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 music. I'm going to cut these out. Okay, we're almost there. And if I can get through this little phase right here without dying, we'll be in good shape. That's a good drill bit when it won't even drill through plastic. All right. Looks better than holes. Just go with me on it. I hate these things. I really hate them. You'd think they could have come up with a better design, like, you know, put a screw in the end that held it on. I think maybe I saw that somewhere before, but regardless, I hate these. Here we go. In. All right. It needs to be cleaned up a little bit, but I can handle that later. Got our arm pad, got our cover there. Got our cover there. I'm gonna go ahead and bang out the same thing on the other side real quick, and then we'll be done. All right, well, we did it. I did it. You guys watched. I really appreciate your support. Other door's done. We got our piece in. Once again, needs to be cleaned up, but I can wait. Armrest nice and tight. Got our little piece for our window crank on there. And looks better than holes in the door. Not saying that that's going to be the thing that makes this truck win a car show, because it's not even that. It's just I don't like the holes there, and now they're not there anymore. So could I have done like a really nice big plate that looked over the top fantastic? Yes, I could have, but it doesn't need it. It's going to be my nephew's first truck, his work truck, his hunting truck, his fishing truck, his hopefully get a girl to take out on a date truck. It doesn't have to win awards. So there's no holes there. It looks better. I like it. He probably wouldn't have cared if there was holes there. He just wants the truck. But there you have it. Old Swamp Thing. Whoever would have thought the day I put this on the channel and started pressure washing the mold and algae off of it, that this truck could turn into this. I'm really happy with the outcome. So far, it's doing great, but we're gonna drive it around for a week or two, make sure everything's up to par, make sure everything's good. But with that being said, 2 trucks in 2.5 weeks, week and a half, finished. We're finishing projects. That's what I like. We're finishing projects. So anyways, Swamp Thing, pretty much done. It's done as far as we're gonna go with it. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate your support, continued support. Please like, share, comment, hit the subscribe button if you're not already, because we got a lot of cool projects coming up. I got a secret one that's gonna be the next video that you guys haven't even, most of you haven't seen or noticed yet. And then just to reveal a surprise, Waldo's coming back. Not next video, but the video after. Waldo, the tow truck's coming back, and if you don't know what that is, go back in the playlist, click on Waldo, check it out. But anyways, I'm about to die. I'm gonna go where it's cool and get this video ready for you guys. So again, thank you so much for watching. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time.